Listen to me carefully. Your life is not shaped by your circumstances, it is shaped by your thoughts. Every victory you've ever imagined, every dream you've ever held, every version of yourself you wish you could become. It all begins in one place. Your mind. Most people lose long before the battle even starts, not because they are weak, but because they think weak. Today, I want to remind you of one truth that can change everything. You become exactly what you think about. Change your thoughts, and you change your world. Your mind is the most powerful force you will ever control, but only if you decide to take control of it. Most people let their fears run their thoughts, their doubts dictate their actions, and their past shape their future. But not you. Not anymore. If you want motivation, discipline, faith, and success, you must first build a mind that can hold them. You can't build a powerful life with a weak mindset. You can't chase greatness while feeding yourself thoughts of failure. Everything begins internally. Your beliefs create your habits. Your habits create your character. Your character creates your destiny. So if you want a different destiny, start with different thoughts. Feed your mind with possibility. Feed it with strength. Feed it with purpose. Discipline starts in your mind. Faith starts in your mind. Commitment starts in your mind. Success starts in your mind. You must talk to yourself, not listen to yourself. You must direct your thoughts, not react to them. You must choose the mindset you want, not accept the one life gave you. Every time you think you can't, correct that thought. Every time you think you're not enough, rewrite that belief. Every time fear says stop, your mind must say go. You become what you repeat in your mind daily. Say it with me. I am capable. I am disciplined. I am focused. I am becoming the person I was meant to be. Your mind is the master key to every door you want to open. Master your mind, and the world can no longer stop you. If you're ready to build a powerful mindset, if you're ready to rise, to transform, to become unstoppable, subscribe now. Join the mission. Join the movement of people mastering their mind and mastering their life. Your thoughts shape your reality because every action you take, every decision you make, every belief you hold begins as a silent conversation inside your mind. Before you move, you think. Before you rise, you imagine. Before you succeed, you believe. Your thoughts are the architects of your future, constantly building or destroying the life you are walking toward. When you fill your mind with doubt, fear, or negativity, you create a world that reflects those emotions. You start to convince yourself that you are not capable, not ready, not enough, and slowly you begin to shrink into the version of yourself your thoughts allow. But when you choose powerful thoughts, when you choose to think courageously, your world starts to expand in ways you never expected. Your mind becomes a source of strength instead of a battlefield of insecurity. You begin to see possibilities where others see problems, opportunities where others see obstacles, and growth where others see limitations. The truth is simple yet life-changing. Your thoughts are not passive. They are engines, constantly moving you toward or away from the life you want. You attract what you dwell on. You become what you consistently hold in your mind. If you think small, your life becomes small. If you think boldly, your life grows to match the scale of your thoughts. Every day, you are planting seeds with the thoughts you repeat, and those seeds eventually become your habits, your confidence, your discipline, your resilience, and ultimately, your destiny. Mastering your thoughts is not about pretending everything is perfect. It is about choosing what you allow to live in your mind. When you protect your mind, you protect your future. When you elevate your thoughts, you elevate your entire life. Weak thinking leads to a weak life, because every limitation that exists in your external world first existed in your internal world. When your thoughts are filled with doubt, hesitation, and fear, your actions become small, cautious, and inconsistent. You start holding back, questioning yourself, choosing comfort over growth, and slowly settling for a life far beneath your true potential. Weak thinking convinces you that you don't have enough time, enough talent, enough strength, or enough worth to pursue the things that truly matter. It traps you in excuses, in overthinking, in the fear of failure, and in the belief that your circumstances are more powerful than your ability to rise above them. But the opposite is just as true. Strong thinking builds a strong destiny, because powerful thoughts ignite powerful actions. When your mind is focused, determined, and disciplined, you walk differently, speak differently, and act differently. You begin to make decisions based on who you want to become, not who you used to be. Strong thinking tells you that you are capable, that challenges are growth, that effort is the path, and that every setback is simply a step forward in disguise. A strong mind refuses to be controlled by temporary emotions or external noise. It stays committed when others quit, focused when others get distracted, and driven when others get discouraged. Strong thinking expands your definition of possibility. It helps you see opportunities hidden inside difficulties and lessons hidden inside failures. It empowers you to take responsibility for your life, to break patterns that no longer serve you, and to keep moving even when the path feels uncertain. The strength of your mind becomes the strength of your actions, and the strength of your actions becomes the story of your life. When your thinking becomes strong, your future becomes unstoppable. Discipline, motivation, and faith start internally, because no matter how much support, inspiration, or direction you receive from the outside world, nothing truly changes until something shifts inside your mind. You cannot force discipline onto a mind that is filled with excuses, and you cannot ignite motivation in a mind that is filled with doubt. Everything must begin with the belief that you are capable of more, deserving of more, and willing to fight for more. Discipline is not a skill you magically wake up with. It is a mindset you choose long before you take action. It begins with a simple internal decision that says, I will show up no matter how I feel. Motivation is not a burst of energy from the outside. It is a spark that comes from purpose, from clarity, from knowing why you must move forward even when it's hard. Faith is not given to you. It is built within you by learning to trust your own strength, your own journey, and your own ability to rise despite uncertainty. When your internal world is weak, your external efforts become inconsistent. You procrastinate, you doubt yourself, you make excuses, and you convince yourself that your dreams can wait. But when your inner world is strong, everything around you begins to align. Your habits improve, your focus sharpens, your discipline strengthens, and your capacity to push through challenges grows. When your mind commits, your life follows. The truth is that no one can build discipline for you, no one can carry motivation for you, and no one can create faith inside you. These are internal forces that must be developed, nurtured, and protected. The battle is always within you before it ever becomes visible around you. The person who wins the war, in their mind, becomes unstoppable in their life because they are driven from a place that cannot be shaken by circumstances, opinions, or temporary emotions. When you build strength internally, success becomes a natural result, not a distant dream. You must direct your thoughts instead of reacting to them, because your mind is constantly producing ideas, emotions, and assumptions that are not always aligned with the life you want to live. If you let every thought control you, you become a passenger in your own life, guided by fear, doubt, impulsive emotions, and old habits that keep you stuck. Most people never take command of their mind. They simply react to whatever shows up. A negative thought appears, and they believe it. A fearful thought appears, and they obey it. A discouraging thought appears, and they let it stop them. But you are not meant to live at the mercy of your thoughts. You are meant to lead them. Directing your thoughts means choosing what to focus on, what to believe, and what to ignore. It means recognizing that not every thought deserves your attention, and not every emotion deserves your obedience. When you take control, you begin to guide your mind toward purpose instead of letting it wander into fear. You begin to feed it with clarity instead of confusion, strength instead of insecurity, and possibility instead of limitation. Your thoughts are like a river. If you don't guide the flow, it will take you wherever the current feels strongest. But when you take control of the direction, that same river becomes a source of power instead of chaos. When you direct your thoughts intentionally, you start choosing progress over comfort, action over hesitation, and purpose over distraction. You begin to think in alignment with the person you want to become, instead of the person you are trying to leave behind. Reacting makes you a follower. Directing makes you a leader of your own mind. The more you practice guiding your thoughts, the stronger you become internally. And once your inner direction becomes powerful, your outer life begins to transform in ways that once felt unreachable. Rewriting limiting beliefs every time they appear is essential because these beliefs are often the invisible chains that hold you back from the life you're capable of living. Limiting beliefs are not facts. They are stories your mind has repeated for so long that they begin to feel like truth. They come from past failures, from criticism you absorbed, from fear that grew louder over time, and from comparing yourself to others until you forgot your own strengths. These beliefs whisper things like, "I'm not good enough. I don't deserve success. I always fail. I'll never change." And every time you accept those thoughts without challenging them, you reinforce the walls around your potential. But the moment you question them, the moment you correct them, the moment you rewrite them, you begin to break free from the mental patterns that have been limiting your growth. Rewriting limiting beliefs does not mean pretending everything is perfect. It means refusing to let lies shape your life. It means acknowledging the negative thought, confronting it, and then replacing it with a stronger, more empowering truth. When your mind says, "I can't," you rewrite it as, "I'm learning." When it says, "I always fail," you rewrite it as, "I'm improving every day." When it says, "I don't have what it takes," you rewrite it as, "I will build what it takes." This process transforms mental barriers into mental stepping stones. It teaches your mind to stop assuming the worst and start believing in possibility. Every time you rewrite a limiting belief, you are training your brain to think differently. You are rewiring the pathways that influence your confidence, your decisions, your emotional resilience, and your willingness to take action. It is not a one-time act. It is a daily discipline. Limiting beliefs will appear again and again because they are rooted in old habits. But each time you challenge them, they lose power. Each time you rewrite them, you strengthen your new identity. Over time, your mind becomes a place of clarity instead of confusion, courage instead of fear, and growth instead of stagnation. Your destiny is shaped by the beliefs you choose to hold on to. When you stop accepting the lies you once believed about yourself, you create space for a stronger version of you to emerge. Rewriting limiting beliefs is the quiet inner work that leads to loud outer transformation. Once you learn to replace every limiting belief with a powerful one, you begin to live a life built on intention, strength, and limitless possibility. Success is a mental habit long before it becomes a physical achievement, because every great accomplishment begins as a silent commitment in the mind long before the world ever sees results. People often look at success as something that appears suddenly, as if it arrives through luck, talent, or opportunity. But the truth is that success is built internally through patterns of thought that eventually shape patterns of behavior. Before you wake up early, you must think like someone who values growth. Before you stay disciplined, you must think like someone who follows through. Before you overcome challenges, you must think like someone who refuses to break. Success is not something you chase. It is something you become, and that becoming begins with the way you think every single day. When your mind is trained for success, you start seeing the world differently. You stop focusing on what you lack and begin focusing on what you can build. You stop making excuses and start taking ownership. You stop seeing obstacles as reasons to quit and start treating them as opportunities to grow stronger. A successful mind isn't distracted by temporary comfort. It is driven by long-term purpose. It doesn't allow negative thoughts to dominate, and it doesn't allow self-doubt to control decisions. It is a mind that is constantly directing itself toward improvement, toward discipline, toward intention, and toward progress. This mental habit develops slowly but powerfully. It forms when you choose consistency over mood, when you choose effort over excuses, when you choose patience over frustration. It forms when you decide to keep showing up, even when the results are not visible yet. Success begins as a collection of small internal choices. Choosing belief when doubt appears, choosing focus when distractions try to pull you away, choosing courage when fear pushes you backward. Over time, these choices create a mindset that naturally produces success because your thoughts align with your goals and your actions follow your thoughts. A person with a successful mindset doesn't wait for motivation. They build it. They don't depend on circumstances. They create them. They don't crumble under pressure. They use pressure to rise. This mental discipline becomes a habit, and once the mind is conditioned for success, the body simply follows. Work becomes consistent, goals become clear, and resilience becomes natural. What others see as impossible becomes achievable because your mind has already decided that failure is not the end, but a step in the journey. When success lives in your mind, it eventually shows up in your reality because your thoughts continuously shape the life you are building every day. Your repeated thoughts become your identity because the mind is constantly absorbing, shaping, and reinforcing whatever you allow to live inside it. Every thought you repeat, whether positive or negative, becomes a quiet instruction your brain begins to follow. Over time, these thoughts turn into beliefs, and those beliefs become the foundation of who you think you are and what you believe you're capable of. When you repeatedly tell yourself you are not good enough, your mind begins to treat that idea as truth, shaping your behaviors and decisions around it. When you repeatedly imagine failure, your brain prepares for failure. When you replay your mistakes, your identity becomes rooted in your past instead of your potential. This is why so many people feel stuck. They are living inside a mental identity they unconsciously built through repetition, not reality. But the same power works in the opposite direction. When you consistently repeat thoughts of strength, capability, discipline, and growth, your mind begins to rewire itself to support those beliefs. When you tell yourself you can improve, you become someone who tries. When you tell yourself you can endure difficulty, you become someone who perseveres. When you tell yourself you deserve a better life, you become someone who pursues one. Repetition is how identity is created, and repetition is how identity is changed. Every empowering thought you choose is a step toward transforming who you believe you are and what you believe is possible for you. Your identity is not fixed. It is not something you are born with or trapped inside. It is something you continually build with the thoughts you repeat day after day. The mind learns through repetition, and the more often you reinforce a thought, the deeper it becomes, embedded in your self-image. This is why successful people think differently. They train their thoughts with discipline. They repeat affirmations of capability, resilience, and purpose until their mind fully accepts them. They do not allow fear, insecurity, or doubt to become their identity because they refuse to repeat those thoughts long enough for them to take root. Your identity is like a mirror, reflecting whatever thoughts you have polished over time. If you have polished thoughts of weakness, you see a weak version of yourself. If you have polished thoughts of strength, you see a stronger version. Most people try to change their lives without changing their inner dialogue. But real transformation starts with shifting the thoughts you repeat to yourself every day. The future version of you is created by the thoughts you are rehearsing right now. So choose thoughts that build you. Choose thoughts that challenge you. Choose thoughts that match the life you want, not the life you are trying to escape. When you intentionally repeat empowering thoughts, you create an identity strong enough to support your goals, sustain your discipline, and guide your actions. The person you become is simply the person you have been telling your mind to become all along. Master your mind, and you master your life, because every outcome you create, every habit you build, every challenge you overcome, and every dream you turn into reality is rooted in the way you think, long before it becomes visible in your actions. The mind is the control center of your entire existence. It is where your beliefs are formed, where your decisions originate, where your discipline grows, and where your courage is born. Most people try to change their life from the outside first, hoping that new circumstances, better opportunities, or external motivation will suddenly transform them. But nothing truly changes until your inner world shifts. The mind leads, and your life follows. When you learn to master your thoughts, your emotions, and your internal dialogue, you gain the power to direct your life with clarity and purpose instead of being dragged by fear, distraction, or old patterns. A mastered mind is not a mind that never feels doubt or fear. It is a mind that refuses to be controlled by them. When you master your mind, you stop reacting impulsively and start responding intentionally. You stop letting negative thoughts dictate your confidence and start replacing them with thoughts that empower you to act. You stop viewing challenges as threats and begin seeing them as opportunities to grow stronger. You stop allowing temporary emotions to make permanent decisions. You learn to pause, to reflect, and to choose the thought that aligns with the person you want to be instead of the person you used to be. This shift is where true transformation begins, because a disciplined mind creates disciplined actions, and disciplined actions create an elevated life. Your mind becomes your greatest weapon when you train it to focus on what matters. A mastered mind knows how to ignore distractions, silence excuses, and stay committed even when the world becomes loud. It knows how to hold a vision of the future even when the present feels uncertain. It knows how to generate strength in the moments when you feel tired, discouraged, or overwhelmed. When you develop that level of mental control, life no longer tosses you around. You navigate it with intention. You become consistent where you used to quit, patient where you used to rush, courageous where you used to hide, and disciplined where you used to fall apart. Mastering your mind also means taking control of your self-talk. The words you say to yourself shape your self-image, and your self-image shapes the limits you believe you have. A weak mind speaks in limitations, but a strong mind speaks in possibilities. A weak mind highlights everything that could go wrong, but a strong mind highlights everything you can build. When you master your inner dialogue, you begin to speak to yourself with conviction, respect, and belief. You no longer allow insecurity to narrate your life. Instead, you choose thoughts that reinforce your strength, your potential, and your purpose. As you master your mind, your identity evolves. You stop seeing yourself as someone who tries and start seeing yourself as someone who follows through. You stop identifying with your past and start identifying with the future you are capable of creating. This mental shift influences every part of your life. Your habits improve, your decisions become stronger, your goals become clearer, and your ability to endure discomfort increases. You become the kind of person who rises despite challenges, who grows despite setbacks, and who moves forward with intention no matter how slow or difficult the journey feels. Master your mind, and you master your life, because once your thoughts align with your goals, your actions align with your dreams, and your life aligns with the future you were meant to live. Remember this: your mind is the battlefield where your future is won or lost, and every thought you choose becomes a brick in the foundation of the life you will live. Master your mind, and you take control of your destiny. Let it wander, and you become a prisoner of circumstance. The power to rise, to grow, to achieve, and to become unstoppable has always been inside you. It starts with the thoughts you feed, the beliefs you reinforce, and the focus you commit to daily. Decide today that your mind will serve you, that your thoughts will empower you, and that nothing will stop the person you are becoming. Your life is the reflection of your mind, so master it, protect it, and lead it boldly, because when you do, there is no limit to what you can achieve.